love me, babe. 'Cause I know I let you down in oh so many ways. School out for summer. We're all clones, all a one and wonder all a one and wonder all.
Alice Cooper, Portrait of a Legend.
It's nice to be a legend. It's nice to be, you know, sit back and realize that you're a household word.
Hello and welcome to Portrait of a Legend. I'm James Darren. In the next half hour, we'll take a look at the career of a man who combined theatrics and rock and roll in ways that the music business had never seen before. The man who brought the theater of the absurd to millions, Alice Cooper.
We destroy the government. We destroy time. No more problems on the way. I'm through, doctor. We don't need your kind. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones.
I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all a one and one are all a one and one are all. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all a one and one are all a one and one are all.
I think the punk goes back to, you know, back to Frank Sinatra. You know, when he came out, he was considered a punk, little skinny punk. You know, because of the fact that anybody that's different, anybody that goes out in the limb, you have to be a rebel to be a legend. That's the most important thing.
Alice Cooper was born Vincent Fernier in Detroit, Michigan. His father was a preacher who moved his family to Phoenix, Arizona, while Vincent was still very young. And as Alice tells our correspondent, Maria Shriver, it was in Phoenix that his need to become an entertainer first emerged.
You know, even to this day, I've never really, in what people consider work, I've worked a day in my, I've never had a job in my life. You know, I'm 33 years old, and I've never held down, I was never a box boy, I was never worked any, you know, I worked for, I think, 15 minutes in a car wash, you know, and they said, out. So I always knew I was made for much finer things. And being the entertainer was a natural thing. I was always an entertainer in high school. I mean, you know, like I was, I kept the classes going when it came to actually, you know, humor and things like that. And I got away with a lot of things that other people wouldn't get away with. I think because the teachers even thought it was funny.
How does a kid brought up in a strict religious atmosphere get it in his head to become a rock star?
I think when you spend so much time in church, you've got to break out, you know. And I remember the first time my parents saw the Beatles, they were a little shocked, you know, and I watched that. I was like 14, 15, I was watching them. And they got to like the Beatles, and then the Rolling Stones came along. They said, oh, no, promise me you'll never look like that. And immediately I went, I can take it way beyond that, you know. And I like my parents. I said, well, not to hurt them, just the fact that I saw a way, there was, you know, they did this much, but nobody was using that stage. No, but there was a, you know, nobody was taking burlesque or whatever it is, shock rock, and nobody was using it. So why not? As long as the music backs it up, you know, as long as the music is great, then why not use the stage? Why not, you know, produce a great big number?
Considering how bizarre Vincent's act was becoming once he discovered his alter ego, Alice Cooper, his parents were actually pretty tolerant of him.
It was a mixed reaction because they were still very religious. I mean, I couldn't go to rehearsal on Wednesday nights because of church. It was a prayer meeting and things like that until I got older, you know, like 17, you know. And, yeah, they were still, I mean, my dad and mom encouraged me on some level. At the same time, you know, every time I'd leave town, my mom would cry and go to the psychiatrist and everything like this. You know, they send me $5 every week still. And it's, you know, now they enjoy it. They understand, you know, what I'm doing because they know I'm basically a good kid. Alice now is a different character. You know, they can't be responsible for Alice. I can't be responsible for Alice.
Alice almost always speaks of himself in the third person, as if Alice Cooper were really somebody else. And in many ways, he is.
I like Alice. I just want to hang around with him, you know. He totally understands the stage. He does everything professional on stage. When I become Alice, I totally take the responsibility of being Alice.
Always a showman. But where did the name Alice Cooper really come from, anyway?
Alice Cooper, the name Alice Cooper alone, wasn't just, you know, it was totally thought out. You know, it was spontaneous at the time. I said, "What? We can't call ourselves this. We can't." I said, "We got to call ourselves something that's going to really get." I said, "Alice Cooper," something like that. You know, and it was just totally taken out of the air. Then I realized Alice Cooper, Lizzie Borden, you know, Baby Jane, da-da-da, and Alice Cooper denotes sort of like a little girl with an axe behind her back, a sweet little girl, you know, that's real nice, but she's dangerous, and that's what the Alice kind of sense of humor is. Every time that you get nice and comfortable with Alice, he turns on you, which is great. I mean, you know, on stage, that's terrific. That's what keeps the whole thing going. And that's still, I mean, it's still with me. When I become Alice, I have no idea what Alice is going to do.
After playing for several years around Phoenix in bands like the Earwigs, the Spiders, and Naz, Alice Cooper moved to Los Angeles, where Weird Alice met Frank Zappa, who was just starting his own recording label called Bizarre Records.
He lived in the log cabin in Laurel Canyon here. And I was always a Zappa fan, of course. In fact, we actually looked alike very much at the time. I had a mustache and you know, hair like that. And I used to know this girl, Miss Christine, in the GTOs, who was her, you know, his housekeeper. And so it got to be, you know, I actually got to go over there and meet Zappa and everything like this, and he was just forming Bizarre Records. And if there was anything bizarre, it was us. And he said, "Why don't you come over tomorrow at 7 o'clock and audition for the thing?" So I guess he meant 7 in the evening, you know, but we got there at 7 in the morning. It loaded, we had everything like, you know, the whole stage outfits and everything in his basement. And we played on 10. We just turned everything up to 10 and started playing. He comes down with his coffee. He says, "What are you doing?" You know, and after about 3 songs, he says, "That's great." He says, that's so, at the time the music was really weird. We did a lot of, Pretty's For You album was really strange. It was like, you know, Devo on the planet Pluto or something. It was so weird. Even at this day, it's the weirdest album I've ever heard.
Coming up next, the collected love songs of Alice Cooper.
And now, here is the 9 o'clock news.
Time to get to work, George.
Yes, Phil. If you were George and Lil, which house would you choose to burgle?
This'll do, George. No one to tell me, huh?
When you're out for the evening, do yourself a favour. Leave a light on in the downstairs room. It could stop George and Lil calling round.
Good night's work, hey, Lil. Hey, Lil, we've been done.
George, you should have left the light on.
Yeah, there's some funny people about.
Don't forget, leave a light on in the downstairs room.
Stop!
There's some funny people about.
Alice Cooper's first album with Frank Zappa was an unqualified commercial flop, with sales hovering in the dozens. At the same time, Alice was busily working on a reputation as one of the worst bands in Los Angeles. He can even remember clearing nightclubs in a matter of minutes.
We emptied the Cheetah here. There was a place called the Cheetah Club. Held about 6,000 people. Within 10 minutes, we emptied the place. And it wasn't because we didn't play good. It was just the fact that they were that hippie organ at the time, you know, that they were outside, you know, with flowers and everything. And we came on, you know, and they, Alice Cooper, they're expecting a blonde folk singer, and they get me, and I'm totally, you know, Clockwork Orange kind of thing. And they just left. They couldn't take the energy. And there was only like 8 people left. And it was Shep, Frank Zappa, in the GTOs, and they were the only ones going, yeah, you know. And to me, it was a compliment. As they were leaving, I was going, wow, we really emptied record time tonight.
But Alice knew he had something, even if very few people agreed. And so he stuck to his view of rock as theater and waited for everybody else to catch up.
Well, you know, I was an art student and everything like this, and I figured anything could be used as a piece of art, a mop. Doesn't matter how expensive the prop is. You know, if you find something backstage, use it. Because so what if it's out of context? Dali's paintings are totally out of context. What is this doing next to this? They create their own reality, the surrealism. So what I really did was I took what I learned a lot in art, and I applied them to the stage. I've been considered a real surrealist, you know, because I'll do something that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm doing on vocally or lyrically, and the audience will go. And when they do that, it worked. I got a thought out of the audience. It doesn't matter what they thought. I got a reaction out of them.
Telephone is ringing. You got me on the run. Driving in my car. I'm riding out of TV. I get to you stay, yeah. But you were under my wheels, honey. Why don't you let me be?
And if you take 100 people after a show, with all the images I throw out, you're going to get 100 different answers of what happened during the show. And things that didn't even happen, they'll create in their own heads, you know. They'll say, like, if I bring out an 8-foot snake, suddenly the snake will be 20 feet, right? And this person, and all have different feelings about snake. This person may think it's frightening. This person may think it's sexy. This person may think it's funny. So when you bombard them with images, they're all going to have different fantasies about what happened on the stage.
I eat my things. Oh, what love it brings. Come here, my things. Don't fear, my little things. I love you, things. I see, but tell you, love me. You come worship me, think I feel with the light out tonight. Show me where.
But Alice Cooper isn't all theatrics and bizarre antics. He's also a talented songwriter and singer, even though many of his songs have gotten lost behind his stage act.
See, the visual thing takes over. You know, if you're going to a concert, you'll remember more what you saw than what you heard. You know, a lot of my lyrics are totally absurd, which I love. I love the absurd more than anything, you know. But yeah, I do work on it. That's what I'm saying. I don't just like rip them off and then say, there they are.
Not all of Alice's songs are bizarre. A few of them, like You and Me and Only Women, from watching a Bowery Boys movie.
School's Out was written 5 minutes before we recorded it. I mean, the lyrics just came and it was there. It was right there. There was no thought behind it, and then all of a sudden I realized, of course, School's Out. And that came from just an idea. I was watching a Bowery Boys movie in the studio. And what's his name, Muggs, you know, was talking to Satch, right? And he was saying, wise up. And he says, school's out, Satch. And I went, it was like, you know, a bolt of lightning. I said, what a way to say wise up. School's out.
Well, we got no choice. Are you girls and boys? Making all that noise. 'Cause they found new toys. You know we can't salute you. Can't find the thing. That don't suit you. That's a drag. School out for summer. School out for Anna. School in blue.
The demands of being constantly bizarre and traveling on the road can be very exhausting to a performer, but Alice Cooper, the true professional, has always believed in giving his audience a top-level performance.
My demand was once you hit that stage, the audience doesn't care about excuses. I'm a total professional when it comes to that. When you hit the stage, you better be good. I can tell if there's one thing out of tune. I can tell if there's a dancer that's one beat off, you know, because that's where Alice is. And Alice is sharp. Alice is very sharp on stage, and he's like this. You know, I might be low-key, you know, I might be tired right before I go on stage, and as soon as you hit that stage, it's, you know, because that's the energy you get, the adrenaline.
Alice Cooper combined the works of Salvador Dali, the theater of the absurd, and good old rock and roll and came up with a form that's been imitated but never duplicated, and in the process became a legend.